Hello. I will be reviewing Battleship. It is a game for the Philips CDI. I hope you guys listen to this video and learn something. This is definitely for historical audiences only. Shut up! You heard me. Shut up! I'm doing a review here of Battleship. Shut up! Stop making noise. Shut up! Listen. This is serious. You know what Battleship is about, right? Well, well, if you're new around here, shut up. I'm the captain here. All right? Gruesome, albeit intense, and for historical audiences only. Battleship is the classic hit and scratch game where you sink opponents over the sea. Although the Philips CDI version takes it to a graphic, more visual level with intense stereo effects along with old black and white footage. Perhaps from World War II. So you can hit your target ships with foul ideas as well as sadistic experimentation. Don't mistake this gimmick for a plaything, right? This CDI game is not for the faint of heart. I've almost wet my pants from the theater of war known as the Ocean Battle between ships upon mysterious locations under and around the sea towards brittle fire and missiles equipped by sailors who may eventually drown someday because of the general onslaught of unpredictability among oceanic fleets. The sounds of confrontation are as old as the mounds, despite the various changes in tune according to conflict and misinformation beyond the measure of real sense. So you'll be getting into the red and white squares as indicated on your oceanic map, which can't locate a flotation until it's sunk completely down in the crystal blue pixels. A battleship program like this one, I just recommend for people who'd already started high school or taken a serious, albeit moral, history class. Footage on the brink sounds could kill your ears to the struggle of silence, reminding me of American Civil War reenactments where my family settled for picnics of fresh grapes and dumb cheese. Yet Battleship does remark on opposition through enough plausible representation to get up around the range of ship to ship conflict between the whispering and gurgling waves, maybe around the Pacific or some other body of water. Controls accentuate those visuals upon shaky grounds or aquatic lands by possible destinations, as pressed into through buttons which only demand guided input and generous output. Question marks shown on each screen make use of the Philips CDI's intention of educating you morons on how gameplay works. However, smart individuals enter their input and output out of the original gameplay. Then, with hitting each question mark with a floating PC arrow-like symbol, Battleship generally demands more patience in the sense of learning, but not in the sense of fragmentic downloads, which impede on your precious moments. In fact, from hitting the far right action button instead of your first two action buttons behind it, more towards the loose and accurate direction pad, you can skip animations, although they're not that lengthy, even if you choose to watch them for obstructive information. At this point in my review, it's possible to tell readers why my wording sounds so grotesque and arrogant with some possible tunes that can be used for understanding historical literature like this out loud. One, it's probably because you hate reading at times, and thus your nice voice is irrelevant to this review. And two, war, or the topic of war, can't be expressed without logical assumptions, because reality, like the behaviors exhibited by soldiers and Marines in documentary-like footage on Battleship, is the footprint or resourceful psychology to what's needed of untimely circumstances among real acts of war against the onslaught, or basically whatever can disturb your feelings just to see you squirm in the battlefields. Disagreement isn't so friendly, and that's why Battleship, because it shows blow-ups and sparkly fire going on when alarms are sounding off the TV in spooky effects and sailors are struggling or being rescued by assailants who will make them prisoners of war, can't possibly be for anyone who hasn't been to high school yet. Saying here is profound, and I'm expressing doubt as to what exact age this Battleship program is meant for, and I'd say 16 years and up. Most certainly you can work at a business with a permit at age 16 in California, unless I'm in a new reality. This is an old review. I'm just reading what's on here with some slight modifications. You won't be drinking alcohol at 16 years of age, but at least you won't be confused enough for the immensity of emotional outbreaking, which becomes apparent from my friend and her former lover named, I don't know, Don, who happened to be a war veteran before he died, but didn't keep up with his militaristic personality and turned to the habit for forgetting responsibility in harsh life. Gameplay in Battleship is original since it's a harsher, nastier shade of fiction compared to the Battleship board games. Yeah, so um, um, parents who may be watching this, if you want your children to have a more gentle version of Battleship, it's actually the board games you should get into, like the basic general and original board games of Battleship, not this Philips CDI program. That's why I'm creating this review here, to show the real personality of this Philips CDI game, which is more higher up in age. Not mature, but higher up in age, you know. You can actually aggravate and feel from the war program until you're shaken up into mild, outrageous humor, if not downright disgust. Like I've said, historical audiences only, not for the faint of heart. Yes, and that includes the conservatives and liberals who are just delinquents and have nothing to say. Thank you. Have a good one.